Well, I'm looking for a lot of the content that they do here is fantastic. It's a lot of development for teachers as well, people exchanging ideas about what's new in education and way of teaching. Also looking at, we have other pavilions as well. We have the German pavilion, we have the Chinese pavilion, and of course the UK pavilion, which is the largest this year. I'm looking forward to see, more people coming from the region as well. Although GESS is in Dubai, it's not just an Emiratis event, it's a regional event, and also attracting delegates and visitors from Asia.
I think that over the years you develop friendships and you build networks and colleagues, and I know that all those people will be here this year, and I look forward to meeting them, to look at the work that we planned from last year and see how that has blossomed and what we've achieved, and to do the plans for next year and the forthcoming years.
So things I'm looking forward to most at this year's GESS are all the making that's going on. There's a lot of organisations doing some interesting workshops. So Lego Education, for example, are doing some interesting workshops where you can come along and understand how you can use Lego in your learning, in your teaching practice, particularly around things like constructionism, which is learning as a reconstruction of knowledge rather than a transmission of knowledge, so it's the opposite of instructionism. Also Prieto-Parra, who I'm involved with as a Chief Education Advisor, are doing rolling workshops throughout the whole event where you can come along and spend 40 minutes on the workshops. Then it's not a commercial stage, it's just where you can go and actually make something, learn a bit of coding and so forth. There's a humanoid robot that's being interviewed. So there's a lot of activity with some modern technologies, but not just technologies to replace teachers with computers, because of course that's impossible. But there are technologies which are showing how you can amplify teaching and amplify learning. So I'm looking forward to seeing you at GESS. It's going to be fantastic.
The bright idea is that we need to better personalise education. So we need to stop thinking as the teacher being the sage on the stage, just telling people what to do. It has to be the guide by the side, taking everybody on a personalised journey. So for me, education is what they say, the kindling of the flame rather than the filling of the vessel. We need the teacher to actually care about the students, take them each on a personalised learning journey, and that's a real challenge.
The one thing I hope teachers will take away is that we really have to think very deeply about what we are doing, and that it's not just enough to put some technology on a subject and then hope that it will be all glittery and fun for the students, but really if we go back to the basics on how brains work, then actually a subject becomes interesting, then the subject becomes relevant for a student, and the question is, how do we do that?
The bright idea that teachers will come away from my keynote understanding is that we have an education system which currently trains children to compete with machines. How about looking at the kinds of skills and kinds of talents that we have that beat machines? So, for example, creative thinking. There's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur or to make scientific discoveries, because these are things that machines cannot do. Physical dexterity and mobility. Thousands of years of evolution and climbing up mountains and swimming the ocean. Anyone who's seen the Winter Olympics recently will know that we are far more mobile and far more dexterous than any machine or any robot. Also, social interactions. Any career where it's a human-to-human interaction, machines are not very good. Regardless of all we hear about AI and chatbots and so forth, they just end up being sociopaths. Social interaction, human interaction, these are things that are most important. So teachers coming away from this keynote will understand about how to develop human potential rather than getting our kids to compete with machines.